This is not financial nor professional advice. This video is for entertainment only. Hello, fellow investors. Today I want to talk about why I'm not trading in this stock market. And I think many of you have probably reached the same conclusion. Right now, I don't feel like it's buying a dip. Right now, I feel like you might be buying a crash, or at least there's a 50% chance that you're buying a crash. It's hard to know if it's a dip or a crash. And I think it largely depends on what happens in Washington right now, which isn't normally the case. But I think we have history, political history being made, and it's a big gamble by both parties, and they're both gambling in a different way. The Republicans want to prevent taxes. I think that is their main goal. That's why they don't want too much spending to happen. They think it'll make inflation worse too, which is probably true in the short run. The Democrats, they want to basically pass the equivalent of the New Deal for this century. The last big package like this was in the 1930s, of course, with Franklin Roosevelt. But it is truly impressive which each party is trying to do, and they're both doubling down on their demands, and that's why it's getting so dramatic. The best way I can explain this is normally it takes 60 votes in Congress to pass major legislation, but they can get around this by using reconciliation, budget reconciliation. But they can only do that so many times a year. And basically, the Democrats have one left, okay? And of course, if you've got one bullet left, you want to accomplish as much as you can with that one bullet. And the Republicans are trying to make the Democrats use that one bullet on raising the debt ceiling so that they can't do anything else. Yeah, go ahead, Democrats, and raise the debt ceiling. Use your one bullet of using the budget reconciliation and use that to raise the debt ceiling. But you're not going to get the infrastructure or the social infrastructure bills passed. Okay, and I think they would be fine with that because then taxes wouldn't increase. And I think that's a huge part of the Republicans' goal. So the Democrats are backed into a corner, and time is of essence because the government will run out of money around October 18th. It might be a little longer than that. We hope she estimated early, but it's around there. So I think what's going to happen, the Democrats know they have one bullet left. They're going to try to get all three things passed: the infrastructure, the social infrastructure, and the debt ceiling. And the debt ceiling is the only mandatory one that has to get passed. And it'll force the Republicans to let it go if it comes down to the last minute. And that's why I'm going to almost guarantee you that this will come down to the last minute. And part of the reason it'll come down to the last minute is because it's a standoff. And it's who has the most guts and who's most willing to risk the reputation of the United States. And they both have so much invested in this that I think they're both going to take it to the limit, and it will be passed probably within hours, if not minutes, of the deadline. And the reason for that being, if the Democrats try to pass all three of these things at once, it's massive legislation. The amount of things they're going to have to change and to get it to a point where everybody's a little bit dissatisfied, but not so dissatisfied that they won't vote for it. You got to reach you got to be, it has to be the perfect blend for every senator And that is going to be so hard to reach. Basically, especially with Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, those are the two critical votes because they act like they're very hesitant to support the whole package. Already, it's being dialed down because of their opposition, but it will be a process of writing this huge legislation and trying to get 100 different things agreed on, which sounds like it could take months, but no, they don't have months. They have days, okay? And the Republicans are sitting back and watching this and saying, yeah, you got one bullet. You're going to use one bullet on all of these three things. And they better hope that the Democrats are successful, because if they're not successful, the Republicans will have massacred the reputation and the faith and credit in the United States of America. That is the history that's being written. So if the Democrats fail, the market will crash like we've never seen it crash. We will go down below 25,000. I think we may approach 20,000 on the Dow. It will be, I'm saying it could be like a 50% correction. That's what happened in 2008. Only this won't be slow. This will happen within a week or two. And so that is why I'm not going to risk 50% of my money in the market right now. I'm not trading anything. There's wonderful stocks like Tesla. Tesla, incredible. They've produced the fastest mass-produced car in the world, and it runs on electricity. You don't even have to have a cord attached to it, okay? It can run off the solar energy from the rooftop of your house if you're lucky enough to have solar panels. Their engineering and what's coming up with the vehicles they're producing. They're going to produce a semi. They're going to produce a pickup that's going to be a mode of perfection, as far as it looks like it'll be almost indestructible. It'll probably survive a nuclear strike. This is a company. It is undervalued for what they're producing, for what they've accomplished and what they're producing, and they should be going up. I mean, they beat expectations, and they're becoming profitable, and they're coming into being, but it's this negative overhang that even Tesla cannot overcome. And I'm going to wait and see what happens. If the Democrats get this passed, I'll be buying Tesla in a heartbeat. I've been trying to get into Tesla, but it won't let me. It keeps going up and down and all around, and it's just ridiculous. So I would just put that on hold until these historic things happen with Congress. So I think we have quite a week coming up this next week. And by the 20th of October, we will have an answer, and hopefully it's a favorable answer, and hopefully the country can go on and progress. And I just wanted to let you know where I am on stocks. Analyses I'll be doing on stocks, it's going to be for future investments. If the Democrats are successful, this is something to buy. If they're not successful and the market crashes, this is something to buy when you figure we're starting to come out of the bottom of the crash. So that's the way I'm thinking, and that's what I'm doing. And if you've watched this far, thanks a lot. And be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. I need some feedback, and maybe I'm overreacting, but I don't think so. I think this is truly historic times. I think this is something like the New Deal meets the Civil War, or something like that, something crazy like that. It's that crazy. The politics have gotten so out of line. I'm usually very bullish on the market. I want to be a bull. I'm sort of a moderate Democrat. I want to be a Democrat, but I'm not as far left as the progressives. I don't want to see taxes increase. So I guess maybe I'm even a conservative Democrat, which is a rare thing to find nowadays, and which I think probably we need more of. Um, but I think liberal Republic. I would like to see more conservative Democrats and more liberal Republicans, and that used to exist, and it's hardly not to be found now. And I think it's sort of a tragedy for the country. But I think we can get back on track, and I hope this succeeds, or at least I hope you buy near the bottom of the crash, because there's going to be plenty of bargains if this thing doesn't go through. Uh, be sure to like and subscribe and leave some comments and give me some feedback. Thanks a lot.